for the people viewing first time, this is going to be Beyond the Arena. This is going to be, I guess, for some reason, yep, now it is fine. Now it's actually fine. Because I did not put the transition to it. The next thing, now everything should be looking crisp. We, of course, got Neff, SamBSepp, in this case, Obabo over here with us. It's going to be just like for people that remember the Island Grown podcast, similar style, talking about Summoners War stuff, inviting new guests from time to time, and of course, want to give you guys the stage as well. Introduce yourself, so go ahead. And then everyone is silent, so Neff, you can start.
Hello, everyone. I'm Neff, the last year U-Cup champion. Happy to be here, happy to be part of this, and really enjoying what we're about to say.
Nice. Sambi, if you can follow.
I'm Sam. Hello. Generally a G3 player, also in Siege and in RTA. And I'm also happy and excited to be here today.
Good stuff. And then the last one.
Yeah, my name is Obabo. I used to be a Euro Cup player. Now I stream sometimes. That's about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're like regular streamers, like consistent streamers from time to time when it fits. Awesome. So, first topic of the day. What do you guys think about the 11th anniversary? Are you liking it so far? Events, pulled something cool, pulled nothing cool. What's up for that for you guys?
I personally think it was hard to top the 10-year anniversary because it was already a very good year. But with the addition of the crystal bags, like the crystal game bag, I think that's actually even better than last year.
So far for me, there hasn't really been. I mean, I think it's a good event, but obviously, a lot of people are going to get nothing, and then a lot of people are going to get everything.
Like always.
I mean, it's not over yet, so maybe there's still something.
And of course,
good events, at least.
it's not as special as like a 10-year. 10 is like a milestone. 11 years is just 10 plus 1. But so far, I wasn't really expecting that much. But for what we got, it's kind of good. The crystal bags are good. I got a new Devaraja as well, so that was kind of nice.
Have you been liking it so far?
Weekly, right?
It's pretty decent, actually. It's quite decent. I've seen it on in the threat state or in the thunder state. Take like a 40k ragdoll torrent, ignore defense while being on crit rate. So it's quite decent.
Not bad. You actually build it full tank, or you go more crit rate on it?
No, it's on crit rate, but still with 31k HP.
Okay.
31k HP.
Good stuff.
The reflect damage is quite big, actually.
Good stuff. So yeah, so far for the 10-year scrolls or the 11-year scrolls, I guess they're just kind of same as the 10-year scrolls. So any of you got lucky on the 11-year scrolls or something else?
No, it was actually I got a few packs and those got nothing, gave me nothing. Then I got a random mystical scroll from Giants, pulled a Juno. That one I fed, and that one turned into Devaraja.
Yeah, that kind of does sound like something that happens more often. For me, also, a bunch of those LDs, just one unit into a net 5 and then into the LD5, yeah.
But there was like one thing. Okay, I don't want to be like complaining straight from the start, but there's like one thing with this anniversary when they're like releasing units like this and they're like making you inclined to summon. I feel like it's a bit weird that there's still not the Demon Slayer original versions.
Yeah, I do agree with that. They're a little bit delayed every time, and it's just, yeah, like I'm missing 3 units right there on it as well. So it's like you want to summon for the new units, but those are not in there. I totally agree with you on that one, yeah.
Yeah. I think before releasing new units, they should add the current units at least to the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like at least the same patch would be good.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think like
beetles. I'm still on 0 beetles so far.
Well,
Me too.
I got one.
I got one so far as well, but I just did like 5k scroll, so that's kind of on the point where you're like, I should maybe have had more, but it happens.
Maybe.
I went 40 legendaries without an at 5. That was something.
Yeah, that's But then again, I also do really see like the RNG in the game. At some point, I did like 800-900 scrolls, no net 5, and then suddenly I got like 4 in 40. It's just like super random.
Yeah, razor rates, they will always go back to kind of average. So if you have a shitty session, the next session can be better,
Yep.
or at least so I believe.
Or it can be as shitty, and then another shitty one, and then another shitty one, and like, oh wait, you're on this side. And then at some point, it finally evens out that you feel like, maybe at some point, enough, your time will come. And that's the thing, like, every gambler stops gambling before its biggest lose. Or biggest win. No, sorry. Biggest lose.
True.
Yeah, it's just like, we all know the game for that. It's definitely
Sam
true.
just entered Scribble tier in terms of lucky. Every 2 weeks LD5, and he's like, but it evens out. Oh, I got another LD5 and a quad speed. Oh, another one. It's insane.
Lifetime due. Lifetime due.
Lifetime deal, yeah. Well, the thing is, if I pull anything right now, it's within 5 seconds on Reddit. It's also a thing. I'm not sure how that is for you, Obaba, but for me, my last LD5 was not that long ago, that's true, but it was on Reddit before I even click like, okay, I'm done with the summon pretty much. Like you talk about it when you pull something, and it was still there. It's like, but it's already on Reddit. I'm like, that was fast.
Yeah, it was the same with. I mean, I pulled the Dark Zenitsu off stream.
Oh, yeah, that's where also people right away is like, oh, he pulled it off stream. Let me talk about that one.
It was probably like even before I knew that I summoned it, because I like summoned it and then I hid it for a while. So like other people probably knew before I even knew that I had him.
Fair. Yeah, it's been like, how long has that been ago for your LD5 then?
I think 2 or 3 months. I'm not sure exactly when Demon Slayer collab was. It was pretty early on in the collab as well.
Yeah. Yeah, not too bad. Still some time on the anniversary packs. There's always more packs.
Yeah, there's a second rotation coming for sure.
Yeah, but then a third and a fourth. We know how that works.
They will milk those 11-year scrolls for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, the thing that you got today, did you guys already claim it? You had like a coupon where you got 10 for free.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was pretty generous. I was like, yo, that actually does make a lot of sense. That is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty generous until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're always gonna see that one guy, like, you've probably seen the pictures, people pulling a 2 or even 3 LD5s in a set of 10, and you're like, that should not be a thing.
Dude, 1 LD5 in these anniversary scrolls is insane, but 2 in a single 10 pull, if that happens, I don't know.
It's just, I would.
What are the odds?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I keep saying it, man. I want soft pities, not necessarily hard pity after 200 LD scrolls, whatever. You get an LD5, but at least not that nonsense. That's like, someone's pulling 4, you're pulling 0. Good luck. This was fun. It's like, yeah. But yeah, is what it is. Then let's talk about also dev previews. We have at least 3 of us have been in the dev talk as well. Me, Neff, and Obabo. Well, Sam, of course, he follows a lot of stuff, so I do think you know most of it, what was talked about there as well. But the dev previews in general, how are you guys liking it so far? Like, just them talking about stuff without actually you knowing what's coming exactly, but them at least giving like a little bit of a feeling like, hey, this is what we're working on.
Should I start?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. I feel like the approach they are doing this year is, in my opinion, by far the best one, because being more open, vocalized to the community, to the people that know what is happening to the game, instead of being like, for example, people used all their grinds and 2 weeks later a new update hits that changes the whole R5 system or the gem grind situation. Like, this way, there's way less issues for anybody, and people are actually thrilled for updates. Like, I'm really hyped for the update in a month when the raid system gets changed, because I have so many 10 plus 10s that I'm going to fix. So for me personally, I feel like that's a really nice addition.
Yeah, I actually completely agree. I just really like the transparency they show.
I mean, so far from the dev previews, I really like the one with the R5 stuff. I'm not too sure. The others were mostly Siege related, right? That's probably why I'm not too well read on those. But I think this R5 change is going to be really good at least. I think even like sure I think the gem thing is the thing that's everyone's like instantly hyped about, but I don't think that's like the long term.
The specific
people-
grind thing is probably bigger long term, right?
Yeah, I would say so because people are like care more about R5 than. I guess the only thing is people are still not super happy with farming gems, right? At least I'm not with the way it is right
I
now.
craft all my gems. I have not
Yeah.
farmed gems in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess that's one way to fix it, but should it really be like that? That you're only crafting your gems?
I personally
Maybe.
would have enjoyed an exclusion function that you can like exclude 8 sets or whatever from the drops, right? From the normal raid 5 drop, and then make gems a whole different new thing. But
Yeah, because I thought they might update the beasts as well since they're doing this new R5. Because
Yeah.
I felt the new R5 has a better spread on the sets than the beasts have currently.
yes,
For sure.
yes, for sure.
Would you then
I thought they
also,
could, like,
because I
match that.
think the drops on the grinds have more. I think most of the gems have like 5 or 6 or something, but some of the, I think fire has like 7 or 8 in grinds. Would you then also say, like, for example, let's say they remove dark and light and then put the same distribution between the grinds and gems on the elements? Would you say that's better?
Yeah, I think it should match the setup for the
100%,
grinds
yes.
because that would just make sense, right?
Yeah, I do
To farm a
agree.
lot of one R5, you should be able to farm the gem version of it as well
Yeah.
with the same.
Yeah, it would only
Gems.
make a
All
little
the
bit like.
shitty ones in the LDs.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I'm thinking. Like, could you completely remove light and dark on that thing? But not really, because you still have to farm the light homunculus and a bunch of those other things. But I wouldn't be against that, actually, to match like the same things, because it also often they did also talk in the dev talks like, oh, we don't also want to over confuse people. We don't want to make the game too confusing. And if you say like, oh, water is these kind of sets, but then you go to the other one and water is completely not these kind of sets, it might be confusing for people.
Yeah, what about if they, like after the update, they also have a general R5 still? So what about if they combine light and dark? So they drop both light and dark, and
Make
all
it generate
the-
gems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
So there you would put in all gems.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that. Yeah, that sounds pretty solid. I would like that idea. Brainstorming new stuff that they have to do, giving them homework that they will never listen to. Like, did you do
I
your
hope they're
homework? No,
listening.
of course not. But no, I really like that idea, yeah. And also for me, like the grinds thing was really a big issue for like the longest time. So I'm very happy that they addressed it. But also the thing is, like, during our dev talk, they were like, the first gems and then grinds, that's too OP. We're never gonna do that.
Yeah.
And then in the end, it's like, no, wait, we brought it back to Korea. We talked more about it. And then they're like, wait, no, it actually does make sense. So it's pretty cool that they addressed that. However, I did hear that in our discussion, they did also say that they're going to up the drop rates. But in the one that came the day after us with the French people, they said they're going to do either or. So now I'm not really sure if we're going to get drop rates improved or just the new system.
I
I
hope
guess
both.
only time can tell, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely true. But it's still like
But
the
I
thing.
feel like
Go ahead.
the gem situation has been split for me, because all the claws I get from raid 5, I just strictly use them for gems. So my purple gems, like 11 gems, no issues. But the legends and gem situation was, let's be honest, mostly ancient shop every week. Buy some gems here and there and then just stun them in. So if we can go away from that step, that's already huge for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's also the thing that I saw on like the distributions. Which of the dungeons are you mostly gonna be farming most? Are you gonna go for the fire one or the other one?
Water, probably.
Yeah.
How about you, Albabo?
Probably. I mean, probably the violent and the. I don't know if Swift and Despair is in the same. I'm guessing it's not. 'Cause they're
Yeah,
gonna need all
Swift
of
and
those.
Despair is in this. No, wait, Violent and Despair is in the same, and Swift and Will are in the same.
Okay, I'm probably gonna do the violent Despair one then. The most.
Yeah, the only thing is with that one is the Violent Despair one has more useless sets. That's more like the enhanced determination tolerance kind of stuff. And it also has one extra drop, like the same thing that they did with Violent. it's technically the best rune set you want, but in Dragons it has the one extra set, so it makes it harder to get.
Yeah, because I think I think most people have like enough will grinds for everything, because you're
Yeah.
not really farming necro that much, and you're getting like ancient will where you get the other grinds anyways.
Yeah, that's definitely true. True point as well. Yeah, I was first thinking like going for just doing straight up water all the time, and then using the horns and claws for violent and despair. But what Neff is also saying, like, we also need those for the gems, so it makes it a little bit hard to say for like, we need drop upgrade on the claws and the horns. That's the main thing.
For sure.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Any of the other dev previews, did you guys notice something, for example, for the siege parts? I did notice one thing is that people were thinking about it as dev notice rather than dev previews. And I think that's definitely an understanding that has to be made where it's different. A dev preview is really where it's like, okay, this is what we're working on. And whereas a dev notice is like, this is what we have. And we haven't seen that much that's like subject to change that they do mention as is subject to change. But therefore, people are like, wait, I expected this patch yesterday, not in 2 weeks or in a month. Like, I want it now.
I also had a guildie that already used a few gems and was like, why is my grind not there? And everyone was like, ooh.
Ouch.
Oh, that's one way to ruin the rune right there.
He had some 8+10s, and I was like, oh god.
Oh, did he
How,
really?
How does this happen?
Did he really do it on a +10? Did he remove the +10?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of those things you can't contact support for, but I'm very sure they're not going to do anything about.
Yeah, but I mean, if there was like 8+10s, then it was kind of deserved, you know. But,
Yeah, that's also like
No.
8, like
Yeah, it was
9 plus 10.
8+10,
It can happen on a random set where you're like, I don't have the
Yeah.
normal grind, but I have a legendary. Just throw on it. But yeah, if it's an 8 plus 10, that's really impatient. Yeah.
Sure. But no, about the siege stuff, I did see it. I am curious how they will implement the rune split. Like if they're also going to make it similar to into server Guild War, where the runes are now also fixed, where you can't rune swap anymore, because that would be quite a big change for siege.
Oh, good point. Yeah. So you would say that on the defense you cannot swap back and forth on runes.
They could do that. They could do that.
Yeah,
like
that's
you have
actually
to
true.
preset your rune box a certain way, and beginning of the siege, it's just locked in.
Yeah. Would you then still?
Can you just, like, when the defense is out, just swap the unit? Like, you have 2 Siglets prepared, right? And one is swift, one is violent. You just swap those out.
Yeah, there are still
Yeah.
ways around it, for sure.
But I personally, I really like it. Because in the past, right, also top tier siege here, I've seen so many situations where people could have used better runed units, but the excuse was my better runes are on defense, and this excuse is just straight up gone now. So that's a big upgrade for me.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. But then again, it's also for a lot of people were also thinking, oh, the rune split, it's going to be completely like RTA, its own box. But I don't think it's going to be that for both offense and defense. Because I think it's going to be similar to World Guild Battle, where the defense is locked in with the runes, but the offense is just using your normal box, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the actual way, right?
But
Yeah.
isn't that like making offense even easier? And I think they said it in the like talks that they wanted to make offense slightly less
That is
powerful,
true.
right?
That is true.
So that's kind of interesting.
Well, at least we have the select first skill thingy. I still think they have to go all the way with 3. Like, I feel like that a full rotation of a full set should do exactly what it should be doing.
For sure.
I thought that's the one part that makes offense harder, right? The always first skill is active. How else do you want to make offense harder, though, is the question, right?
Well, that's the part that it makes offense harder, that's obvious. But what Obaba was saying, like, if defense is set to the same thing always, then it makes defense a bit better. It's boosting defense.
If you can't swap defenses, that would make siege way easier. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, no, wait, sorry. It boosts offense because, yeah, it makes offense
that
easy.
should not happen for siege, at least. Tournament would be pretty damn boring.
Well, you kind of can see it with a lot of guilds already. Like we got Global in Europe sitting here right now. Sam, you're still in rank 1 guild in Global, I guess?
Malevolent.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think in Global server as well, you can see it as just fewer and fewer guilds actually wanting to try hard for it.
Yeah. At the moment, we have 3 guilds that are quite close to each other. Each guild can still take it. But so far, Malevolent has taken it 3 times. But there were close matches for sure. But outside of that, it keeps dropping less and less and less.
Yeah.
In like a top 20.
So that's also a big question. Like they are going to do the 32 guilds. I think that's a nice addition. But for example, Neff, are you still in the top guild at the moment?
Yes.
Okay. Obabo, you're already not for a longer time. So my question then to you specific is, what would make you come back to Siege?
That's not something that I really know myself either, because I don't know. Siege for me, it feels like, even though I kind of see why people like Siege, it's not really that engaging for me. So I feel like I spend too much time doing Siege when I'm not really gaining that much from it. And I'm not really talking about rewards, because rewards are actually pretty good. That would probably be the reason that I would do it, but I don't think that's the right way either, to just like keep making the rewards better, because then you're kind of like forced to do it, and then you probably burn out anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what they could do to bring me back there.
But
I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I would say that I liked Siege more back then, when it was like when people sucked a bit more on offense, and there was like more variance, and like
Yeah, the
everything
variance part is.
yeah, because now it's like everything is just figured out, so every Siege is basically the same.
It's also not only that everything is figured out. Like ever since Windy got released, right? Like just certain elements got hard locked on defense. Like you couldn't run those elements anymore. So I feel like finals or semifinals right now is just go either totally RNG AI on units, like Monte, Ciclet, or whatever, or go LDs. Like that's the only ways how you can play it out right now. That's just plain up boring. Like you said before, in the earlier seasons there were like 85% win rate was good.
Yeah.
Now 95% win rate is like, oh my god, you suck, get better. And that's like, no, that just takes away a lot of the fun, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely is a thing. Well, the one I would like to add to that is traps. Like a lot on defense, when defenses are winning, is just traps. You expect it to be this kind of build. It's completely not. People start switching in 9 shield sets. Like, yeah, was that really that great? It's like, yeah, you couldn't Lucian it, but yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, and the thing is for Siege, like the people that are invested to Siege are that invested to Siege that you can't simply say, for example, you cannot use duplicates. Because personally, I would like to see no duplicates, both in offense and defense, because it would make it harder in both. But it also would make it a lot more all round, because right now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm throwing in 5 Adrianas, 3 Tianas, and have 2 more LD cleaves, and I'm done.
I would prefer that in tournament. In season, that would kill me. I have 7 Dovas, 4 Mirenes, 4 Adrianas. Oh my god.
Bye, Lucian.
Yeah, that's also, like, then we're getting back to Obabo's point, time investment, which is actually a pretty big thing on Siege as well, because especially these Siege leads, they're looking at their screen for like 2 times 12 hours per week minimum to lead the map who has to attack what in high ranks. Plus, if you're in somewhat of an active guild, the moment you can hit, it takes forever. You're waiting so long before you can do your hits. And that's actually also a thing that is Siege that makes Siege Siege. But in the end, that's also the part which I think it's too time consuming.
Regular season, it's quite okay for me actually. Usually,
I feel like Macro has become such a slow-paced game right now, especially in the current, like last season, for example. It became slower and slower for our guild, at least. So it's like the days where you were like, "Oh, nice, not a top matchup, but we don't need to super tryhard and we just blue map the whole area." These days are over, at least for my guild right now. So it makes it a bit harder. And what I also experienced, and I really don't like, is ever since this current season started, with the new point system and everything, dude, we get Malevolent or Skyfall every second or every every siege. It's insane. I don't want to do this anymore. I want free sieges. I want to have fun.
Thing is, I think it's also hard because people are always like talking about that thing where you would like make it so you can't use dupes for offense. But I feel like even though a lot of people would like that change, I think it's hard because a lot of the like actual die-hard siege players are like committing their whole accounts
Yeah,
for like 5
Yeah.
years for that exact reason. So even though
I
some
agree.
of them would like it because it makes it more engaging, it's still like alienating the like siege player base even
Yep.
more. So it could be like have the opposite effect, even though some people enjoy it more.
True.
So that's why I think it's so hard because you have to
Getting
balance siege
punished
for
for
the
building 10
casual.
rules sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's also definitely where Siege is often more seen as like end game content. You can do a lot more free to play. Like if you put a lot of effort into re-runing, you can pretty much still 10-10 if you have decent runes and you have all kinds of shitty units. Because a lot of 4-stars are still based on no LD kind of hits. So yeah, that's very true. Like people there's a lot of people that full focus their whole account, everything Siege based. They made 10 windies while they're sitting in the box regardless right now because no one's really using those anymore. But yeah, I totally get the idea. And that's also why Siege is such a difficult topic to make it good for everyone.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't allow dupes anymore, there will be a lot of new LDs for a lot of people.
What about at the start, like at the end of the season, let's say 8 guilds, the top 8 guilds, can decide on 2 global prebans for offense and 2 global prebans for defense. For example, take out Windy, take out Camilla. Let's say that, right? That would just make the whole offense scenario completely different. And if you also take out, let's say, we don't include LD5s on the takeout, right? You also take out specific net 4s for defense or net 5s for defense. That makes everything completely new.
I kind of like that. I would actually rather say that do that for offense. So defense, you can still put anything, but offense, you can't use Ming. A lot of offenses are kind of screwed then. Or you can't use Adriana. A lot of offenses are going to have a difficult finals. I like that idea actually a lot. Because in the end, we're top 4. We're supposed to try hard anyways. Then you can really experiment on making it actually difficult.
And if you say this is, like you said before, right, for newer players and people like that, just make it a G3 specific rule that only in G3 sieges these rules apply. Easy solution.
Yeah, I would really like that actually. That's actually pretty cool, yeah. Cool
Would you
ideas
say
here,
for the
Neff.
whole,
Cool ideas.
whole season or for tournament specifically?
I would do it for all season.
I would say tournament is probably better because that's where you get everyone together on like you have some events to click on already and that kind of stuff. And I would say the whole season, to be honest, I'm not sure how it is in global, but in Europe, we just do our sieges, we win, but we actually don't give a shit about the season. That's just simple.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. That's true.
It's just Lucian 10 times.
well, I'm not really allowed to do that kind of, but it's kind of getting there, yeah. Should have pulled another Dova today.
Should have pulled a Mirane.
I'm kind of fine with Jins though, but the thing is, I picked up 5 Jins through the event, so now I need 5 more Dova. So that's kind of where I wanted to get balanced out.
I think I've
Fair
only
enough.
4 Jins built, but like 10 Miangs.
Oh, Miang,
She feels way more versatile than him.
yeah, that the Miang is the reason Miang is that versatile is because Miang is both 4 and 5-star. That just makes her so usable to build so many of. Like that's also what I was saying in another video of like the HOH. Like if you don't know what to do, get more Miangs because they're also an HOH.
Can't go wrong.
Yep. Well, then let's move on to the next topic where everyone is pretty much on the same state. RTA. People are always very divisive in like which way it should go. But my general question, current state of the RTA, what do you like, what do you not like?
Shall I start?
Sure.
I actually want to start with a question. Because what do you guys think? It's very early season, of course. We have a new balance patch literally for 3 days now in the new season. But what do you think now is the best LD5 in RTA specifically?
Ooh, I think there is actually none. I think that's going to be my stupid but honest answer. I think there's a good LD5 in a specific scenario, but there's no like you could maybe give the argument to a Laura, but I don't think that there's necessarily one thing overtopping everything.
I would do, for me, it's like a holy trinity right now. Like if you have 2 of those in your draft, most of the times you're pretty much set well. For me, it would be Laura, Gianna, Tianleng. But I feel like units like Light Gojo, for example, they are super close to that spot.
And
How about you,
Babo?
Babo?
For me, it's very early to say because I don't think I've even fought a single Laura yet, which is weird. But I feel like before the patch hit, my prediction was basically that Laura would go from like 53.5 winner to 51. So I think she's still gonna be good, but I don't know if she's really in the top 3. It's kind of hard for me to say right now. But I guess TL should be really good, like with how the meta is shifting anyways.
Yep.
So it might be that TL is the most desirable one.
I think you might be right on that, though. And that TL is probably one of the strongest because you got the Gyu added, you got the Megami added. Those are all kind of units that the TL Lynx is like, yes, please. I like those.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. I also think it's not really a holy trinity that you have all 3 a must in the draft, but like not Laura, Tianleng, Ragdoll, and Gianna are kind of just back to being the top 3 in RTA. I feel like.
Ragdoll as well?
Ragdoll Gianna's really weak right now. Like Gianna's more of a faster oriented. Like you don't run Gianna in a bruiser oriented draft with Ragdoll.
No, not like all 3 together, but like separately. They're all shared the number 1 spots in RTA. I mean,
I feel like Ragdoll took such a big hit, not by the balance patch, but by Irene being insanely strong. Like the moment you fight Irenes with Ragdoll, you just like, no man, I was taking turns on units. I'm in the back. This ain't fun.
I may be a bit biased because I own him, obviously, right? But I feel like because of the previous buff / nerf, right? He lost attack per gain but gained the reflect. Ragdoll shifted from a like plus 80 to plus 100 speed unit to a plus 130 speed unit and was like way more active as a DPS. And now with the change, if you run him on that specific set where he obviously loses tankiness, nobody's getting punished anymore for focusing him. Like the only punishment is the sub 30% torrent where you just straight up don't put him into that range, right? But before, focusing Ragdoll was basically nuking your own team. And that is straight up gone. And so I feel like he got a way bigger hit than people thought he did.
Well, I think that's also maybe because that's the way you build it. Because I would say 90%, 95%. I actually must say I like your build a lot better. That first of all. But 90 to 95% of the people I was fighting had this weird 50k HP Ragdoll that I'm like, why is it even on this much HP? And it's like, yeah, but it works for them. It's like, yeah, whatever. Like, for example, the Ragdoll of Crispy Bacon. That thing was just smacking 20 and 19ks like left, right, and center during the SWL. That's a kind of Ragdoll I like to see. And I think that's also the Ragdoll that would work right now. But I think you have to be a little bit lower on speed again to get enough tankiness.
Yes. But you lose like for the start of the game, it doesn't matter, right? He moves and when he moves. But if you look at like 5 to 10 turns from him, you lose basically 2 turns in a 4-turn rotation or whatever.
Do you think any of the Beetle Knights, someone's actually mentioning in chat, do any of the Beetle Knights, like let's say a Water Beetle Knight, someone's actually mentioning with a Ragdoll, would that be a thing?
I think so, yes. He does. As Water Beetle Knight, at least he does double the damage than all the other Beetle Knights because of his passive. And he's like, I don't think anybody has such a protection for his team, like 35%. Even Nigong, when his S3s on cooldown is less, I feel like.
Yeah,
most likely,
15,
but Nigong is kind of bad regardless.
Yeah, of course. But I feel like his AoE protection for the team that he rides is straight up insane. Like, very high potential unit.
He's like the only reason I want to get the like 11-year Transcendence, just so I can get the Water Beetle and play him right now.
Yeah, I fought Kalian Bao yesterday, and he played Vivagel, Gurka, Nyx, or Seimei with the Beetle guy, and it was just impossible to get through him. It just nothing died, nothing.
Yeah, I did hear some people say you need about like 5k defense in total to hit the full 35%. So it's decently high, but it's also decently doable. So that's like after
Much
towers, after
really
multiplies, everything.
without defense buff?
Yeah.
Is it like plus 2k?
Yeah, something. I don't remember the exact numbers that they said because it depends if you're like in guild content, not in guild content and stuff because of extra towers and shit. But a lot of people said that it was pretty doable. But I don't have the unit myself yet, so I didn't test.
But that's only when he has like defense buff up, right? It's hard to get it
Yeah,
without.
of course.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's with defense buff. Like you're not gonna get 5k without it. That would be really a lot.
I feel like
Pretty
he's
sure.
also a great combination unit. Like they're like light Gojo with him, lower with him,
Yep.
water Gojo with him. I feel like that's strong pairings.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also with Nyx, the Dark Hacker, the passive stack together.
Imagine having Dark Hacker, not the Fairy King.
Yeah, definitely interesting units. So I think we could say that only. Would you say Light and Dark Beetle Knight are good enough to be meta? I haven't seen any of them yet.
No.
But
I
also
have
not
no
the
idea
Light
what
with the
they are.
I don't think
counter.
either of them. Sadly, I think especially the dark one is very. Yeah, he's very. I don't want to offend the Dark Beetle owners, but he's like definitely up there among the worst
But
LD5s.
before we
for me.
mention that,
Yeah.
normally when a new unit comes out, like 1 or 2 balance patches later, they get like a small addition or change. So that could also still happen, right? For
Yeah,
them.
they're definitely bound to change. I think none of them are gonna stay at the current state that they are.
Even water?
Well, in the end, there were a few units where you would say, like, for example, Lamila. We all said, like, Lamila's totally usable. Lamila's already fine. Still get the S1 upgrade. I'm like, she was fine already. So it can still happen. Valeska, maybe one of those?
Really good
Why
buff.
buff Alaska? I don't get it.
I love it.
No,
Yeah,
but
she's pretty insane now, right?
yes,
With
Yeah.
the buff.
she was pretty insane before, in my opinion.
To be honest, I've had many times with Valeska that S1, the unit was already on 1 HP and it just left it at 1 HP. The
Yeah,
S1 really
exactly.
hit low.
I've had that happen against me as well when I like just live the S1 because I think you only really need like speed, HP, res, and then random critter innates, right? Because the critter is actually good now from innates on her.
I still
The
have
S1
her
probably.
on full HP.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's triple HP, but if you get like a crit on the S1, it's like probably like hitting harder than a Chandra S1 or like similar since you're like so high HP.
Yeah, similar. I've seen it hit for between 3 and 6k depending on
Yeah.
how low her HP is.
And also then on an armor break, it's just so much more scaling because that's where you really see the difference. If there's an armor break and before you're hitting for like, armor break, but you're still hitting 2k, whereas now you're hitting armor break 7ks or something. Yeah, then you're talking.
For sure.
What
I think
would you
otherwise
guys... Go ahead.
it's kind of hard to know exactly how the meta will be, right? Because
Yeah.
right now it's super up in the air.
That was also my question going to be, because we always kind of had like, especially as casters, we always talked about like Holy Trinities. We had like Chandra, Velajul, Sagar, and it kind of shifted to Sekhmet, Oliver, Jongnam. I would say that's also a little bit out of the air right now. What's going to be the next one?
Double Angels.
I would say the meta is a bit split right now in 3 parts. Actually, let's say 4 parts. One is double twins, plus you can combine that with like multiple drafting playstyles, right? One I feel like went from Sekhmet, Oliver, Jongnam to Sekhmet, Oliver, Miles. Way more than Jongnam.
Would you say Sekhmet rather than Rakuni?
Yeah, more Sekhmet right now.
I would say so.
The next one is Chandra Vela as opener, plus specific playstyles. Can even go Etna and other stuff. And the last one is just like, that's the thing that I wanted to say. Like, for me personally, 2 patches ago was the Sagar nerf. Like, the LD, specific LD drafts got way stronger than they ever were. And that's, let's say, best opener right now, in my opinion, is Light Gojo. And then if you go Light Gojo, TL, Laura, that's insanely hard to beat, I feel like.
I think that's where the Laura nerf actually matters quite a bit, because I feel like the Laura TL Gojo teams were kind of weak to like Fire Monkey Bruiser stuff, and now they're way weaker because the Fire Monkey just starts
Yes.
hitting them instantly because they lose the defense buff like right away, right?
But also at the same time, those are like insanely big artifact checks,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you have insane AoE, additional damage artifacts,
Yeah.
a monkey gets melted straight up.
Yeah, I've seen that from some people with like insane artifacts, and those 3 units all take 1 turn, and your whole team is at 30% HP. It's like, they did AoEs, they're not nukers. What happened?
Yeah. And then there's one Abilio on the underside, even though there's a TL, and they're fucked.
That's
Yeah.
also an option, yeah.
I do have
But yeah,
to say
that's what I would say is the meta right now.
the people that used to spam that and used to spam Laura a lot, I actually checked them beforehand, and none of them really is spamming Laura that much. And we also saw it in the SWEL. The normal guys that played Laura a lot, Malignant and Spoon, they've both drafted Laura barely in the playoffs.
Mm.
Yeah, that's actually
So
kind
it's
of true.
either are they uncomfortable with the nerf, or are they just looking for other stuff because they have spent Laura for like nearly a year now? Are they tired of Laura as well?
I feel like in a pre-ban setup, it's always hard to stick to specific units straight up, because everybody's prepared against them in your case, right? And you're always missing like a certain unit to pair it with. So
That is
that's
true.
rough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, especially for Best Spoon, he really has like a holy trinity with a bunch of those units, also having the Gian in there, Laura, Gojo. But I think on leaderboards, normally without a pre-ban, because he pretty much had his Gojo banned every other game. Mostly the Laura's banned on the other side. It's like, yeah, you can't really combine them then. That's a big issue. But yeah, it's curious to see if Laura's going to be like top win rate, because right now I've been checking win rates a little bit earlier, but since there's that few matches in, it's kind of all over the place. So it's really hard to say what's good. But what you really do see high up is like Gianna, Tion Leng. So I should be doing good, but I don't. But I'm washed up anyways. Doesn't matter.
I feel like
You
right
are-
now, the high damage crit rate TL builds are just super scary to fight.
Crit
Like
rate,
high
yeah.
egg is, in my opinion, right now way weaker than high damage.
Maybe I should give that a try. Well, the thing is, the scaling of Tion Leng is a little bit weird, because there's a decent amount of scaling in the attack and a little bit of scaling in the HP.
I think Seratu is going to be even higher win rate this season as well compared to last one.
100%.
Yeah. People were asking me before what would be my most wanted LD5 right now. I said Zeratul. That's actually one of those for me that I would say. But that's also, like, everyone kind of has this one unit that you think, like, oh, I have really good runes for this one. And Zeratul would kind of be for me that on that base. What would be for you guys that one unit that you would say?
I mean, Yuldong, I guess, but that's...
Yeah, we go back to the Yuldong. Well,
special
even
one.
Kalian Bao is not playing Yuldong anymore.
Yeah, no, but...
Well, he has
he's
too
washed.
much, doesn't
No,
count
no,
as
he's
well.
not.
Well, we had Crispy
Me-
Bacon in the league playing Uldong from time to time.
Mm,
with Lydia.
Yep.
that's nice.
For me, it's Bella, for sure. Most wanted by far.
Valeska?
No, Bella.
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 Why Bella?
Because I can do 2 different playstyles with her. I can go like the Vegette route.
Uh-huh.
Just Vegette Bella straight up cycle into damage. And I feel like she would be insane with Secret together.
Would you
She
not say
doesn't,
that the
work on team up,
Zeratus...
though.
Oh, Baba, would you say that the Zeratul is not straight up way better than Bella right now?
I would say so generally, yeah. I mean, Bella does more damage turn 1. That's
Yeah.
the main thing. But then Seratu is way tankier. Like, I feel like that's the only thing... I would for sure use Bella if she had, like, 10.8k base HP. But
Yeah,
the
I agree. Your base
9.7
HP is
so
really bad.
rough.
Did you try Bella with Seren? Like, does it work on Team Up?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay,
Otherwise, I
never
would
mind,
be
I don't
like
want Bella
playing it.
anymore.
Yeah, because otherwise I would just play it every game, right? If
Yeah,
it
yeah,
didn't work
yeah.
on team up. Yeah.
Well, we got that
Yeah,
we got that
Secret
fairy
sucks.
tale out of the window really fast.
Oh,
Yeah, because
Okay.
otherwise Bella Sigrid, like Bella would just finish whoever she targeted the first team up, right? And they
Yes,
just die
yes.
to the S1 into the S2 S1. So I see that, but yeah, sadly it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But maybe that's
Yeah,
gonna
not
be
too it.
maybe that's gonna be the case soon. Who knows?
Yeah, the next buff. Well, the thing is, you kind of want to build her on like full HP bruiser style and then go for additional damage artifacts. But issue is, she has no HP, she has no defense. There's nothing to scale from.
Yeah, I mean, defense is good. It's just that the defense is worth less since her HP
Yep.
is so worthless, basically.
You have to go full HP,
Yeah.
sweet HP with double HP arts.
Yep.
No other way.
Yeah.
But then again, those rune fit so perfectly well on a Fire Twin Angels that Obama made a little bit too popular.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Fire Twin is basically like a Bella, except that it gives your whole team a bunch of stuff at the same time.
Yep, it does way more. And then also like, oh, ignore defense. That figures out on this Federica that suddenly dies.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like my Fire Angel just tickles the enemy. I don't know.
But really,
More artifacts, my man, more artifacts. Show me the build later. We can
Yeah,
exchange
sure.
builds if you want.
Okay.
So Sam, what would be the one for you?
Mostly a high base LD. FIFA, Yonhong, Wunsa. Either
Yep.
of those.
Yeah, I think Bunsa for your comp, like you're also playing the Glorious comp for the Twitch viewers out there. You were kind of playing that, but with a Ziana that has the most insane stats that I've ever seen on one unit individually. That thing has like, if people know efficiency on like swap, that thing is like 125 or something. That thing is really insane.
Yeah, I also play the double twins now as well.
Mm.
I have both teams ruined. Like double twins with Valeska is quite good as well.
Yeah, true. Oh yeah, that's actually really good because you're already on pretty short cooldown. You lower the cooldown even more. You start nuking things super hard. And that's actually pretty nasty. I like that.
But I need a high base speed LD5 to put Swift runes on. Like right now it's on Triton and it's
Yeah.
working for now, but I'm not really loving it.
Yeah, like Triton can work for now, but you know that at some point he will fuck you over, basically.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. He already
It's
fucked me over a
inevitable.
couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like there's getting like the Fire Megami being a strong counter pick to all of that comp as well, just makes it a lot more difficult to draft.
Yes, but no. With Neftis and Ziana, it doesn't really matter because they have to CC both.
Yeah,
Or I
okay.
get both off anyways.
Wait,
The
And
thing
I
is,
still
like,
have flex pick.
Megami buff into those teams, I don't think it really changes his win rate much into those like cleavage teams.
No.
It's basically just a placebo buff where people will like pick him more often when he's good, but he probably will have the same performance last patch. But I guess in like
Yes.
longer drawn out games,
Yeah.
it matters a little bit more when you get the steal and stuff.
Yeah.
It's slightly more pickable now.
The first time I thought about steal, I was like, oh, you steal one turn. And I was like, wait, no, you steal 3 turn stuff. So it's like, oh, the Veladjul had immunity. No, I have 3 turn immunity right now.
Yeah.
That's actually super nasty, those steals. And that's the same thing with the Water Gojo. Water Gojo at first was also like, it's not really doing much. And then I saw the Water Gojo from the match of Pinkroyd. And it just stole like the whole team heal over time. And he healed his self from like 0 to full in 2 turns. It's like, okay, that actually has a little bit more value right there than I gave it credit for. Something you don't see too much heal over times though, but it is a decent unit.
I'm still not a Water Goju believer though, but maybe.
I feel like because he can get stunned easily, right?
Yeah.
Like can't push back but stun. I feel like that's the one weakness why I don't want to play him actively too much.
Well, I think that's nice about him is the 106 base. He doesn't need crazy runes to... Like, you have some units, like, for example, Sagar really needed, like, an insane set to be on tune.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
no,
hurt
Pooh,
ruining him though.
True. Pooh loves the Water Gojo right now. When his
Oh,
Water
really?
Twins get stolen, he instantly picks Fire Megami and Water Gojo.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting opener.
Yeah, maybe I should give some better runes to the Megami as well. Would you guys say go him a little bit fast or just full tank? Because I feel like he's mostly first targeted.
Yeah, he's mostly
Nice.
first targeted.
I still like him tuned, to be honest, moving first. But tankiness is really important on him.
Yeah.
And max egg, of course.
I don't know. Thing is, of course, being tuned is good, but I don't think it's worth putting the runes to make him tuned.
Yeah,
my
that's... He kind of feels like
he
that to
should
me.
be. Yeah, because I think it should be a reactionary pick anyways. So like, sure, like even then you would still like to be tuned because it gives the enemy less options. But since he's
But-
supposed to be a counter pick,
Let's take, for example, like Pooh's opener, right? Like if the enemy goes Water Angel first pick and you go him plus a Water Gojo. Like if he's not tuned and he gets focused on one by the Water Angel, there's barely any value on him. Like I just like that he moves first still.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I
Violent
I
Wind,
don't think going water Gojo Fire Megumi into Water Angel really does anything, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I'm also not too sure about it, and I really hope his
And I
enemy
think
has a
it's-
Tian Lang because that would be a
yeah,
fun
'cause
setup.
because I think in that case, you will
Then
be
it got
automatically tuned, right? Because Water Gojo will probably go before your Fire Megumi, which I would say is better anyways. So he is
Mhm.
probably on a tanky build even then.
Yeah.
So you
Sorry,
don't
TS.
like him stealing buffs, the Megumi? Because if Gojo moves first, there are no buffs left, right?
Yeah,
Well-
I mean that's true, but I don't. No, I mean I guess it's okay, but I don't value it that high. No,
Okay.
I wouldn't pick him as like a standard speed lead into something that he doesn't really counter at all, like a Water Twin.
True.
I would pick
Yeah,
him later as
I,
a secondary.
I
speed
think
lead.
it's one of those things where I think both scenarios have some plus and both scenarios have some minus, that it doesn't really matter all too much, actually.
So I, for once, I don't understand why you just like if enemy goes Water Angel first, right? Why don't you just go Oliver Water Gojo? That's a way better answer to that, no?
Well, then again, the
Yeah,
Gojo also
guess.
wants to be countering the Oliver. Like, I think Gojo is one of the better weird counters of elements against Gojo because, or against Oliver, because he can never really skill 3 it, because the moment he skill 3s it,
Yeah,
he
that's why
loses
you
the whole
go
cycling.
Oliver Gojo instead of Megumi Gojo. That's what I meant as an answer for that opener.
It's an option,
Yeah.
but it kind of depends like who likes to play what. And that's also funny to see that now the Jongnam is nerfed. I think the Twin Angels Water are the highest pick rate for first pick again.
Yes.
I think it's still Oliver, but probably Water Twins will take over.
Well, Oliver has been so long on the first pick, but that's also one of those things that's interesting about balancing. On one side, you don't want to create the most insane full LD spam draft is the best thing ever. But on the other side, people are like, I don't like Sagar, I don't like Oliver, I don't like Okeanos, I don't like Carno, I don't like any meta unit that's normal elemental, but I don't want an LD full draft. It's like, what can they do?
Yeah, because issues like the elemental one will always be in almost every game
Yep.
when that happens. But I
And
think
you
for the
can
Fire
never
Megumi,
beat.
I guess you can go for it being tuned, but then you basically, I think the only way you do that is if you go with like your fast speed broken runes, right? And you go violent broken. Because I think if you go violent will and you still want to be faster than your whole team, then I think
Like
even though
Steve
it's
said,
nice.
he has 106 base though.
No, I mean, we're not talking about what to go to. We're talking about Fire Megumi. It's 101 base.
Yeah, like true. Man, I actually put good runes on him then.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like sure, like it's nice to have good runes on him, but it's probably better for your win rate on other units if you can get them.
Yes,
more
in
efficient,
general
more
for
fast.
sure. Yes.
Yeah.
I just had the fortunate part that I have decent will rune depth, so I just made him will, but
Yeah.
I agree.
I actually had him
I
on
do
Seal
like him
for a
more.
while, but you definitely do miss the will runes the moment you play into a Sibala or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I love him on Revenge.
Ooh, Revenge is nice as well because he is first target, is like, and then he starts stealing something. And that is a really nasty one.
I was thinking Nemesis also could work if he's just getting targeted to make him move, right?
Yeah, because he completely loses his passive the moment he gets targeted himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an option as well. Well, then again, I tried the Nemesis bolt on the Light Siri because if it starts getting focused, she will take turns. She just got stunned. And the Nemesis didn't really help. So it also could be one of those things, like where I'm kind of still on the points like, a Will Rune would have been nice over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she doesn't gain passive ATB in any other way.
Yeah, that would be OP.
Give it to her. I'm fine.
Yeah, because you have her. That is bias. I would just simply say it's like, maybe give her a Leica and a Ragdoll and a Jaeger passive all in one. I personally wouldn't mind. I have no clue why.
Sure.
Good thing I don't do the balance patches.
Yeah,
Obama, you used to like the Fire Megumi on Swift, right?
Sometimes, yeah, but I still think. I mean, now violent. I would probably go violent again, but I still think both builds are good depending on what you're trying to do with it. Because it being swift can be really toxic since it brings its own speed lead. It's kind of a little bit like when you put a Water Twin in the draft because it's still not. Because some games you don't even want it to proc that much.
True.
I kind of like the value where if you proc, you always have an S2.
Yeah.
So either you start with S2 or after your proc, you have the S2. That's just so nasty for those low cooldown units. I had one match where I had a very good positioned Vert, and the Vert just simply never moved. Megami. It's just like those kind of things are super toxic.
It's like with the Vanessa when you're on Swift versus Van. Like some games, you proc into having your passive up is gonna win you the game, but there's also like a lot of games where getting a proc on Vanessa would be bad for you, kind of.
Like if you are first picking her though, Violent is a must because otherwise, as soon as you go into a speed duel, you have 3 Swift units on the field.
Yeah, and then if you're in a Swift duel, you just win if you win the Swift duel, right?
Yeah, but what if you don't? Or what if you get a rest check? Like I feel like
okay,
I had that
maybe
issue.
Violent Vanessa can save you then.
Yeah.
But I feel like even if you're losing the Swift battle, then I don't know if Violent Vanessa.
Like as
is
soon as you
that
don't first
impactful,
pick her,
right?
I would not put her on Violent. She's only worth on Violent if she's first pick material.
Yeah.
I also do feel like that your first pick should always be like a good set. Like you shouldn't be just picking the unit because of the unit. You should also be picking the unit because the set is really proper. Like I had that with some people going like Oliver because they felt Oliver was a good unit, but they actually had a really weak Oliver, and then some other units were way better. I'm like, maybe you should completely switch your draft because you simply don't have a good Oliver set. I actually had that with my Vanessa. It did not work out for me. I didn't have a good Vanessa set on it. Well, actually, back in the days, like there was, how long is that ago? I think that we're talking like around the time of 3 years ago, around like the SWC in Bangkok. The Korean players made it popular to go Vanessa on crit rate and a Camilla on crit rate right after. Which I think in current meta, I think what's his name? Ozero, the guy from Finland, is also kind of playing that. I think that's also pretty strong setup at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I was playing a lot of Fire Megumi Camilla
in
the Special League, which is kind of similar.
Yeah. I actually do like Camilla a lot in current meta.
But do you need crit rate Camilla with her crit awakening though? Like, can't you just pull it off on crit damage?
Camilla, you could go crit damage, but crit rate is also fine if you don't get any crit rate in the rest of the stats.
It kind of depends on how you're doing it, because if you go crit rate and you like go on a super fast Camilla, you gain so much value when you like start lapping on a unit like that. Especially when you get the slow debuff, so you can actually like start lapping Swift units late game.
For sure.
Oh, we actually have someone we have Tactac saying that his is crit damage. Well, not surprised, but his is actually will. That's also an interesting thing. If you always bruiser, it has so much value to have everything on will. Even the units you might think are weird on will.
Yeah, I would just move my handset over to Camilla.
Wait, Obabo, are you using your hand much these days or not really?
I mean, now I'm back to playing Seren because I can use LDs again, and I didn't play it last end of season, right? So now I'm playing Han again.
We love Seren.
I'm playing a lot of Dark Zenitsu.
You need to show me your Seren. I want to compare to mine.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
but you have a secret that's different.
Yeah.
You have the secret that's not a Seren.
Oh, the secret. Yeah, no, that doesn't matter. It's all a Seren.
Sigrid is actually one of my most wanted now, even though I think she kind of sucks.
Yeah,
because I think Sigrid with double Zenitsu, like especially the dark one, I think you're gonna be hitting like 28k on the Sigrid team up with no defense break on the dark Zenitsu S1. So you can just always
now. Secret Zenitsu.
Yeah, you should try it. But dark Zenitsu's damage is something else.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
No luck with LDs, sadly.
Yeah.
Not yet.
And you can't even summon him right now. That's the worst part.
Yeah, that's the main part. You can't summon him at the moment. Well, what would you guys say is like one of those LDs, it's not really good, but you still want it just because of the cool factor? Because I definitely have a few of those that I would say like, I would just want this for a cool factor rather than like, I'm actually going to be using this a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's Yuldong, right? But
I would say, yeah, for you, it's definitely Uldong. In this case, also the secret. I do also hear a few in chat. Guys in chat can join in. Dark Demon, well, I can tell you that much. That one is real bad. You don't want that one. It never gets buffed. I do see a Destiny in chat, and Destiny is actually one of those for me. I think it's super difficult to build, but the unit just looks cool.
Which one did you say?
The Destiny, the
oh yeah.
Sonya Dark. It's just that third skill. I still think it's one of the coolest looking animations in game.
Thing is, I think wanting Destiny wasn't even that weird when Juliana was spammed so much, because she was like one of the best Juliana counters. But now I feel like Fire Twin just counters all those things while being able to be picked whenever.
Yeah,
It's kind of
exactly.
hard to justify her now for me.
Who looking LD that I would not use that much? Ooh, that's a tough one.
We also have Sarat. Well, that's also for me, like, and I guess for Obao as well. Certain LDs just give a lot of content. Like, that helps out a lot of as well. If you get an LD that doesn't make you that much content, it's like, yeah, cool. But if it helps for a lot of content, it helps out a lot as well.
It would be Tebay.
You wanted the Bay?
Ooh.
Yes.
That's, wait, for AoE branding into AoE Valeska?
Yeah, it's just like a pseudo Valeska as well. Double Valeska. Sounds fun.
It's insane how many debates I faced last season. I don't know. Like, it was such, like, the first time enemy picked him, I was like, whoa, what does he do again? And then it became like sort of a meme for me, like, oh god, no, not again. But he's getting picked more and more, I feel like.
Yeah, there's a couple of comps with him with Hey Gang, Leo, Helena, Devraja, Tebay, and then just counterpick.
Interesting
Generally,
picks right
when
there.
you ban the Leo,
You could also play him with Craig, right? Craig Debay could also be pretty scary.
yeah, but Tebay doesn't really gain
Have
anything
attack skill
from
on it. Yeah.
yeah.
That's the
No, it's more about like just starting to take away some HP from the enemy. If he's a turn 2 player, right? Craig into Debay into Velasca, for example, could be pretty.
Could be a lot of damage, yeah.
Sure.
But then again, it's also to the points like, wouldn't you just put Lamilla on the spot of the Debay?
Or Ongyuki.
I feel like
Probably.
Lamilla also has one of those positions she's not used much, but I think she could be really good for RTA as well.
she's one of the most consistent CCs at least, right? It's like triple.
Yeah, I
100%
think so.
proc, or how is it? I don't have her, so I don't. Really
I
know.
think she's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
high on rates on
triple-
the skill 3. Like, I use her in
Yeah,
Arena
triple
offense
100%
on pretty low accuracy, and I feel like it's pretty much there all the time.
It's
Yeah, you basically can't
100%.
miss.
100% for 3 hits.
Yeah,
Branding
that's
and,
like, if you
provoke.
miss that, even on wrong element, you're bound to land the provoke. And she's now also all 3 skills scaling max HP. That's really good. Only thing is that's definitely also on everyone's mind. Nobara. The win Nobara.
Dude, that unit. What did they do? What happened? Like, were they like, okay, let's make Armageddon in form of a wind unit? I don't know. The 2 debuffs and my team is dead. It's insane.
Half that has to happen twice, then you're full dead, but then you're full dead, yeah.
I don't know.
No.
I still feel
unit
like
gets
she's.
nerfed.
I don't think she's gonna get nerfed.
No?
I think she's probably gonna need. Okay, she's not gonna get buffed either, but I think she would probably need a buff more than a nerf.
Oh,
Dude,
but
she feels like steroid Rika. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of
I don't know.
the enemy
I
is
think she's gonna be, like-
deciding if the debuffs are there, right? So sure, you withhold a lot of skills for you're not being able to do it, but it's still pretty much, except for the provoke, your choice to do segment S2, it's your choice to do an Ethna S2. Like, those kind of things are still kind of there.
Thing is, I know like lots of people hate on her right now, but I think she's gonna be. I mean, it's kind of gonna be like a little bit like the Smicer thing, where it's gonna be like a 46-47% win rate unit. But then people are like, oh, I hate Nobara anyways, you know?
I feel like she's like an insane 5th pick in so many games. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Like, for
she
example,
can be, but 5th pick can always be insane. Like Chow can be an insane 5th pick, you know? Like
Yeah, true.
it's hard to. Almost any
sometimes.
unit can be an insane 5th pick.
I
I
think
just feel
she
like
will become like another Douglas unit where people have to build a box a bit around her so that they aren't hard counted by Nobara, similar to
Just
like a
drop
Douglas.
Eki on your units.
kind of
Yeah.
yeah, but I would still favor Douglas over Nobara personally because I feel like Nobara is designed to punish the like Giga debuff cleave type teams. But I feel like those teams, like sure, even if Nobara puts you to 1 HP, you're probably still winning the game, you know? Meanwhile, if you're like weak to Douglas, you're almost always losing to Douglas 100% of the time. Sure, there are going to be games where Nobara procs out and provokes your team, and it's like unlucky and you lose.
So she's
That's
kind of
still gonna
faster
be.
Yonva?
What did you say?
She's kind of faster Yonva then in that case?
Yonwa. Is that
Yeah.
one
The
of the
wind
string
string.
masters? I have no clue what that is.
Wind String Master, Wind Mirene.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
people are saying in the chat right now that she's sitting about
Kind of.
48% win rate, so it's not really necessarily like an insane. I think people also would maybe over spam her a bit too much. That's definitely what we also saw with like Antares, Douglas, those kind of units. But I think she's kind of okay-ish. Is in a right draft, she's definitely a Douglas. She's definitely going to be murdering all teams and stuff like that. But it's also one of those units that, if it works, it shows really OP.
What is her ban rate?
I believe it's like 33% as well.
Yeah, that's
was
probably
just
pretty
gonna
high.
say. Yeah.
Thing is, I feel like like you would pick her into a heavy debuff / AoE cleave team, but I think she's only really strong if you're picking her into a team like that, and then they're like trying to pivot into some more bruisery or like sustain type stuff. Because I feel like into a full ascend turn 1 team, you're almost always going to be dead with her. It's going to be like worse than a Veramos or Abilio or anything similar, unless you're like proccing out on that first turn.
Yeah,
Which will happen, but it's not going to happen that often. And even then, you might be reset anyway, so you can't even like provoke with S2. But I mean, we'll see
Yeah, makes sense.
where she ends up.
Well, I
Yeah,
would also
like you
say
said,
that she's maybe also the semi-necessary counter against the Heigang, Tomoe, Layla kind of comp. Because in lower ranks, people just couldn't figure out how to counter that altogether. And this is one of those units. I think it's really specific
sure.
targeted to counter that comp.
I mean, I think I guess Heigang in general, it's quite good because if there's a Heigang team that's going like full CC, they're still lacking a lot of damage or pushback compared to a CC team that's non-Heigang. So I
Yeah.
think it's good that
any
there's a decent like punish for an early Heigang.
debuff heavy team that is not fully turn 1 and is like not high damage output.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's fine that she's good against those because it's pretty specific still.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see how it ends up as the season goes.
I feel like I would say right now she does 25%, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think 20 would be fine, in my opinion. Besides that, I completely agree.
Yeah, that at least not 2 procs and you're out, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was also thinking about what about you do a little bit more, so let's say 30 or maybe 35, but 35 from max HP or from current HP rather than max HP.
Dude, 35 max HP would be.
Yeah, no,
like,
35 max HP would like legit kill you in 1 hit. But the thing is, like, sure, you would drag things down to like 10%, 15%, but getting lower than like 5% HP, where she cannot at least like every support kills you off right away. I think that would make her more of a. She's not killing the whole team by herself and then getting 1 AoE hit in and kills that final HP. But then again, if she's sitting at 48 win rate, then it's maybe not that much needed as well. I don't know.
What about 35% of her max HP? No.
Ooh. No, wait, that would that be more? Yeah, that would be more. No,
Yeah,
wait.
yeah, she would do.
Again,
She would do like 50% to everyone.
that is full HP Sonya in 1 hit, man.
Yeah.
Except your Sonya, yours is too insane, but
That's the second Velasca, basically.
yeah. But then I'm getting a random turn.
Yeah.
Dude,
Best
imagine
part
you
is-
draft Velasca and Obara together.
Her passive stacks Velasca damage.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's pretty
No.
good as well.
No,
So I do draft them together, yeah. I also I fought a Okeanos Sierra Veronica team. Nobara as well into those comps is just kind of free.
Yeah. Well, I also did see people use Nobara into me when I only had an Okeanos as AoE stun unit, and then it's just 1 turn. You never have 2 turn debuffs. Then the Nobara right away feels pretty weak. Like, sure, she gets the 125 off, but after it's not that much.
No.
What are you actually talking about, Okeanos? But maybe also Shio. What do you think about these 2 units?
Oki, on the one hand, I feel like, yes, very meta dominant, better Karnal right now at least. Shihu, I've not seen a single one since the buff.
You did not see my video. No, we
I
actually
was
had 1
Shield,
league day. I think it was League Day 7 where we had a lot of them, actually.
Oh, I meant
What-
in ladder by
Hmm.
myself, but so in specific situations, he's obviously good. Let's be honest. But I feel like in terms of spammability, I don't see him.
I was actually using him a decent amount in the Special League on just Swift and pretty much an Ethna build. And then there was a lot of Fire Megamis that you just have HP on the first turn, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then if
think
he's
he's going to
really
be
going to be
pretty good.
meta, I think there's just too many, like, well, Ethnas and those kind of things out there for the Shiho to be good.
Yeah. But I do think Ethna and stuff did lose some value. Because those units are the strongest when it's like a heavy Swift meta, because they're the highest
Yep.
base speed, right? So. And now with like Fire Megumi and stuff early, I feel like it loses a little bit of value, but they're still good, right?
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah,
And-
I feel like Etna is seen way less right now.
Yeah, I do think so as well, because every Ethna should kind of be punished by a Fire Megami.
Yep.
Unless there's a Heigang next to it, but that's...
No.
Which also, Obaba, you were always a big fan of nerf Heigang. Would you still be on that side, or would you say like currently it's fitting a little bit better?
I mean, I was never really just like nerf again, because I don't think you can just nerf him when he's sitting at shitty win rates, right?
Yeah, that's...
It was that I think they should have adjusted him a bit and like shift power away from make him like a bit more offensive rather than just full on defensive where he's like countering every type of strip ever, basically. But
Like
now
the
I feel like, I mean, with the way the meta shifted, I don't think you can really first pick Heigang anymore. But I think back then, you could first pick Heigang even though he's basically like a dogless type of unit, which I think was an issue. But that's not really the case anymore.
Like the ATB he gains to your team, that's way too overtuned still.
Yeah.
The cleansing part or the strip part or both?
Both. Like if you get a debuff cleanse, it's like, what is it, 40%?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. It's a double 20 or
It
so,
is.
right?
That's way too high.
Should there maybe be a nerf for him that if he gets the double increase, then it's like less? Would that maybe be like a fair... Well, then again, like you were saying, he's sitting in a shitty win rate, so they're probably not going to adjust him.
Yeah, I don't think they should
Yeah.
nerf him now.
Yeah, that's totally true. Yeah, that's also the thing. Like, would you say that they look a lot at win rates to buff and nerf, or would they also kind of just go by random?
I feel like
think
they go.
it's-
Oh, you go first. You go first.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a little bit of both, but I would say generally they're looking at win rates. But I think there can exist high win rate units that don't feel as frustrating to fight as well, and those probably wouldn't be as like fast to nerf.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
also...
they look.
Go ahead.
I feel like they look at win rates in too many brackets at the same
Mm.
time. Like, in lower brackets, the win rate is often tied to a unit doesn't need much to fulfill an insane role, right? And the higher you go, where runes matter less, kinda, there they look less compared.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a thing. But it's also
Yeah.
really hard. Like, in the end, we would like to see the game being balanced in G3, and like, other ranks, do they exist? Like, sorry, but that's sometimes our mindset a kind of bit. But that's also where you see certain units just still shine really good in lower ranks and higher ranks. But what Obama was also saying is about units being frustrating. And that's actually also a good thing that I think they should be looking more at. For example, the moment they buffed Manon, I was like, yo, this thing is not insane on win rate, but it's just so stupid and frustrating to play against. And those units, I think, should be more and faster adjusted, just because of people don't like to play against it.
Yeah, but thing is, it's weird for me because I think some of the units should still exist. That's why I think it would be so nice with the like pre-lobby pre-ban. It
Yeah.
should still happen.
Yeah.
Then you can just
Please,
ban whoever
please.
frustrates you at the moment.
Agreed.
Yep.
Dude,
Yeah, I totally
get
agree.
5-minute delay to replays, so you can't snipe anybody, right? Perfect.
No, I would like to see a pre-ban that you select the unit before you start queuing. They actually have that in their other game, Chronicles. They have 2 of those. And that way you can also not snipe someone, because that's definitely a thing like people would use. You can even just open a second account and you just go on the replay list over there. You can check what they were using before. You don't even have to go through third-party stuff for that. But it would be nice of saying like, hey, my comp doesn't like to play into Leo. I never face a Leo. I don't like to play into Heigang. I never face a Heigang. Might you feel at some point like, okay, I'm losing to every Gianna in the game? And you just pre-ban that. I think a lot of people would have more joy in the game with that.
For sure.
The
And it
reason why I
open
would
up
why I
so
would
many
add the
things.
delay. Can I finish first, or you wanna?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go. No, go.
The main reason why I want to add the delay is because, let's say in top 100, top 50, where you have either super long queue time or you have an insta game against specific people, right? Like these, you can snipe from checking who's playing right now, and then you can adjust your pre-ban before you queue up. That's why I wanted to add 5-minute delay.
Yeah, it makes sense. But then again, you also have sites that can do it regardless. So
True.
that kind of makes it hard.
I would be fine even without the delay. But I mean, I see the reason for the delay, but it would mainly be for end of season, right? When there's so long queue times, anyways.
Yeah.
But then it would still be hard because if you're fighting someone like late season, you're fighting someone one game, then you know you can fight him one more time, right? So then you just
Yep.
change your pre-ban to his thing regardless, even though you don't know if he's in a game or not, kinda. But that's
If
like
you
super specific,
accidentally-
high rank, end of season.
If you accidentally snipe the wrong person and you have fucked your pre-ban,
Yeah.
it could be quite bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that could definitely backfire. It's like you're queuing into poor like all the time. It's like, okay, I'm done with this Gian or whatever he's using at that time. And then the next fight's that's Scaling Boss. Good luck, man. It's a complete different player.
I mean,
I don't think I would ever
any
pre-ban LD.
Kelembao, you can ban any LD and it's probably good, right? 'Cause-
Yeah, then he probably has them regardless. It's just a big question if he was using them or not.
No, I don't think I would pre-ban LDs ever with that tool.
I did it on Ragdoll at some point. I was so annoyed by Ragdolls that I was pre-banning Ragdoll whole special league.
I mean, I think there's definitely comps that you can play where you just pre-ban Tianlang every game,
Yeah, definitely.
True.
for sure.
It's true.
There's a couple of things like that.
But would it also maybe make Gian owners too OP by always banning Hey Gang?
I don't think so. And even then, like, I think it would be fine actually. Like, even if they just pre-ban Hagang all the time, there's so many good high base speed options which also counter Gianna, right? Like, even just a Sekhmet.
And
That's a good
there's
matchup.
also Fire Cookie, Fire Monkey, if you go that route, right? If they go Zibala
True.
speed game, I don't think it's like Obama said, I don't think that matters.
True.
No.
How about the other spectrum, the speed comps that always want to ban a Leo? Well, then again, it's also like you see the ban. So if you see a Leo ban, it's like, what would this person be playing?
Thing is, I think that would also be interesting because then you could like rune up special stuff just for those guys. Because I feel like, for example, Ginger Brave, which you wouldn't really want to use that much now.
Yeah.
Like if you pick a Ginger Brave into one of those like Leo ban speed guys, like it's actually really good into them because they're so fragile.
Miles.
Stuff like that. And I think it's a good thing that you have to like be ready for more different playstyles rather than every game being more streamlined and it not being as much variance in the drafts.
I
So
think
it's more interesting to play.
this global pre-ban would open up so many drafts that have been dead for decades now. Let's say,
Yeah.
for example, the Tableau playstyles, right? Because
Yep.
if there's Leo plus 1 force ban, it's over. You can
Yeah.
go out.
You're
And
pretty much
just
done.
this thing would open like at least 5 to 10 playstyles that have been forgotten, that people enjoyed, that people liked, that some people probably even still play and play like 1 or 2 elos lower than they could be. I feel like that would be actually very big for the community.
I
think
do agree
Tableau is
with that.
underrated. Like Tableau Jamar is actually underrated right now though, but it would still be nice for them for sure.
Yes.
And Tableau Jamire also fits really well with Valeska. Pretty sure you have been trying that out.
Haven't not actually.
Okay, it's something. Well, maybe you don't need the cooldown reduction of the Jamire that much, but at least Tableau, I think it could be something.
The only issue is that Velasquez is always going to be slower than the Tableau, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Which
Yeah.
can be fine, but it's like a little bit awkward.
Well, I did it with Tableau and with snipe units like Sonya. I did Water Twins into Manananan as well. So with the boost, it still moved in front of the Tableau, and then it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Any other units you would really like to see make a comeback from like old metas?
Any Hathor.
Sir, you're no longer allowed on this one.
Praha.
Praha.
Yes.
What would you add to
Taking pre-ban,
Praha?
and I feel like she could be back. Why?
Well, if we're talking oracles, I have a personal favorite on that one. I want Lima to have removed on that S2 awakening that no one actually cares about and give her S1 back with 15 crit rate, so I can actually 1v7 some people again. But that's probably not gonna happen.
I mean that thing was pretty toxic. The Lima.
I'm pretty sure
Lima
I, for the
Oliver
people
meta.
that don't know the story, I 1v7 against Second Baby. He had a Ragdoll on Miyuki, Nana, and one other unit. And the Nana had 3 stacks, and Lima soloed the whole team. And I'm pretty sure it went straight to HQ. Because Second Baby, of course, Korean player, straight to HQ. Nerfed the next patch.
I mean, I think I'm pretty sure you like did that or was close to against me as well when I had like 4 Nana stacks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
maybe I
that's-
also sent something to HQ. No, I didn't. But, it was close.
Yeah,
It's pretty,
that's
toxic
that unit
fight.
was really busted. Well, the fun fact is my set never upgraded since then. Will be
Mm.
exactly the same set as like 3 years ago or whatever it was. But yeah, that
Yeah.
thing was really busted. Also, I did not record it mainly because I was still like playing as WC hiding stuff. But now I'm like, oh, I want those clips back. It would be just so fun to just see that.
That sounds dope for sure.
Yep. But also very frustrating for the enemy side.
Now, basically, I want a few units back that just left the meta because of Hagang. That's what I would like to see.
Which units would those be?
And anything that applies to debuff while stripping, CP, Praha, anything in that regard.
And also opens up more for Despair more. But then again, I think most people expect more to be Swift or Vio nowadays, that you can actually get away with going for Despair again.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard because even if you're on a Despair more, you're probably not countering Hagen anyways with just a more, right? Unless you're getting like top 5% luck. on
No,
your
it's
pushback.
more like the
So-
other way around, that they are not using Hagang to counter more that much. Like, sure, it can work, but...
Yeah.
But also, someone's mentioning Chiwu. I haven't seen Chiwu in ages. Well, actually, you see a Chiwu here and there from time to time, but actually, like, meta pick Chiwu.
I feel like Chiwu is like... If I see Chiwu, it's an M trap nowadays.
Yeah, well, actually, it's still have a Chiwu ruined up. You sometimes have this weird position where you do want to speed lead and you do want to strip. And you want it, like, to be semi-fast and then, like, just 210 to 218 or something. It's fast enough to make it decent.
Yeah. Thing is, Water Twin took that spot for a lot of people.
Yep.
It's a little bit similar, even though it's not AoE strip.
Yeah.
But it does feel
Actually, I
similar role.
damage Chi was quite decent now. Like
Yeah.
just on a 200 Swift set and crit damage. On defense breaks, I've seen him like 60-70% a Juno in one hit on S3.
Yeah,
I miss old Chiwu though. When he was actually like he would still be picked right now if there was old Chiwu without the glancing. And when he had the like where he even pushed back or absorbed on water units, even if he glanced.
oh yeah, he was absorbing back in the days.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, so he got
do-
an extra S2 instantly.
Yeah, that's a while back already, yeah.
So basically they traded him like being the best Hagen counter to being
The worst.
kinda okay-ish into a Verd because he put a glancing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's also
That
a
was a
unit you
bad
don't
trade.
see as much anymore currently, like Verts. At least I would say, because we're getting more towards a bruiser meta, and then the triple revenge Vert is not really fitting.
I think I actually like Verd a lot in those games. To be honest. Like I like
like it.
Verd in a bruiser versus bruiser fight.
But
You
would
see
you
more
still go
Swift
for
Verts
triple
nowadays?
revenge then?
Yeah. I mean I always like the double revenge will over
Mm.
the triple revenge recently. But I would probably still go for that. Because in like a bruiser fight, do you still want to target the Verd? Because one like revenge probably
Yeah,
makes
you're
him, like,
probably still not gonna do it now.
yeah. But like definitely you could go for like violent Verds some games because people don't really expect it until they see the first Valen proc.
Yep.
And they're still not going to target him first in that case.
Yeah, Vert in the end, 40 push-up, that's just so much bar all the time. It's definitely still strong.
Yes.
But
I saw
I think
more
I
Swift Verts recently.
I haven't seen that many of those, but I guess like Arene is probably the unit that I'm seeing picked the most now.
Yeah,
Just
Irina is a really
last
high
season.
pick rate.
She's great. I like her a lot.
And I've seen something weird with Irene. Like, I think she might be bugged in some way. Because I keep seeing her. I saw it on my stream yesterday, and I saw it also on Scribble's stream later that night, where it says that her skill 3 gets resisted, but she still landed everything.
Yeah,
So there might be some weird extra thing she
I
can
have
land.
seen that as well. Now you mention it.
It's
Yeah.
3 checks, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
even if all 3
checks-
checks are correct, I still see no resistance.
So I think it was Glory was talking about that there might be a thing where she has 2 separate checks for the strip in a weird
Mhm.
way. So you might get resisted on the strip, but then still manage to strip and then land everything.
I
I'm
should
not sure
actually,
exactly how it works, but there's something weird with it. 'cause I've
I
seen
should
it.
give it the test on like 0 accuracy against 100 resistance unit and just see if there's 4 resistance potentially popping up rather than 3.
Yeah,
That
there's
could be a thing.
something strange with that.
I have seen that as well, and I also I believe I've seen her versus like a mouse only stripping the shield buff from a unit and missing the strip on the wheel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably the case.
Ah,
then.
could that be so the 2 individual strips rather than...
That could be, but that's,
But that's
still
really good then for her consistency, and it doesn't really. I mean, maybe that's something in skill.
Well, it could be good, but it could also be bad because if you how to say it, like if you strip something else first, you don't have the chance later to strip that as well. Kind of. Does that make sense? I would say it probably not, but I think you can get the idea where let's say you strip shield, but you don't strip the immunity. Whereas if you had just a 1 check, you would have stripped both.
Yeah, of course. But I think it's still like very valuable for because it's like way better than a segment then. When you're skill 3, you can turn 1 onto just a willed up unit, which is probably the case most of the time.
Yeah, I guess so.
like
But
you
it's also
basically
one of
get a
those
double
units.
checker.
If you don't get the absorb, it's so often it's like, oh yeah, Gianna's gonna come out of the box right now with a skills available full attack bar. She's gonna take that turn right immediately right after that, which is one of
Yeah.
those things you actually have to land everything for her to be really good.
But I think that's fine as well because when you do land everything, it's pretty broken, right? Like you take 50% HP from a unit and you push it to 0, and it's gone from the field for like 10 turns.
I feel like she gives me insanely big segment buff wipes turn 1.
Yeah.
Because if you don't land, you're fucked.
Yep, yeah, that's very true. Well, actually, then the Okeanos was buffed to have a double check, and I was playing Special League. It's like, at least the Okeanos land double resist. I'm like, yeah, never mind on this one.
But that's super rare now, though, right? Like,
It is
he
rare
actually-
enough for me to see 3 times in one stream, so I was already annoyed.
Maybe it was bugged, like Water Monkey at that point.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, Water Monkey is actually fixed now again. It was stated all the
Yeah,
way
yeah.
at the bottom of the last patch. But it's weird how certain things like programming wise, I have no clue how you manage to change a unit and revert an old change back. That's just kind of strange to do.
Yeah.
Maybe they copied and pasted some code and forgot to remove a line.
Yeah, could be a thing. Well,
Yeah,
they
if
did it
it's-
once for Gianna as well, where Gianna got bugged, where she didn't, or where she got the double check rather than single check on the S3.
Yeah, that was the same one with Succubus and stuff.
They also had a double check.
Yeah, it was the same patch with
Hmm.
Gianna. There was a couple of units that got bugged.
Ah, okay. I didn't know about the succubus. But yeah, it's interesting
How long was
sometimes
the bug
how
active?
these kind of bugs do get in there, yeah.
How long was that bug active?
It wasn't that long.
Yeah, I
'Cause,
think.
of course, like every John owner went crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then like people were coping like, oh, maybe that's gonna be a future nerf for Gianna, you know? But just that they implemented it early. But
I think it was
never-
in there for like maybe a week max, like 3-4 days to a week.
No, true.
That's quite long actually.
True, I remember.
It was decently long to the point. It's like, oh, is this an intentional nerf or is this something that they're gonna have to address? It took a little while on that one, yeah.
I mean, it could be because sometimes they like, because that was one thing in the balance patch. With the like water Indra, they said it's a bug fix, but it's like basically just a buff
Yeah.
with this passive.
But how about the Fire Gojo? It was doing 100%. It was stated
Oh,
as
yeah.
50. They bug fixed him to be 50, and then the next balance patch they put him at 100.
Yeah.
He was already doing that. You should have not touched him, and he was already doing that. Just change the tooltip, and you're good to go.
They should have added spoiler alert to the bug fix or something like that. Coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon. We're gonna revert this back regardless. Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting with how some of these like work back and forth.
But what happened? Like people were using like Fire Goja a little bit when it was bugged, right?
Yeah.
Was that just because it was cool that it was bugged? Because now no one is using him, even though he has like the
Yeah.
bugged damage back.
I would say it's definitely one of those factors that people is like, ooh, it is more than it's supposed to be, and then they're actually using it. I have seen a few on Siege defense, however, with I think Twin Angels and Zenitsu's. Was not a big fan regardless, but it's one of those units people kind of feel like it's a fire Theomars, but then again, who cares? Both of them don't care about element, so why would you need a different element version of it?
Yeah, the only defense I've seen with him is with Sylvia and Water Ivor, and that one.
Oh yeah, that's quite commonly used right now in global.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad, but then again, it's also still on the same point of like, doesn't the Theomars kind of do the same?
Yeah, but you can't pair that with Water Ivor.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You go for both. Oh wait. It could actually be a thing. Not really sure if it's
Sure.
that great, but it could be a thing.
Why not?
I think that wraps it up for now, unless you guys still have we're like an hour and a half in. Was kind of the mark that I was aiming for. You guys have any final words for today?
Don't use
Give it
gems yet.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
That's definitely a really good one.
Yeah, I mean, if Conto's listening, give Eleanor 1-turn attack buff on her skill 3 on the units she targets. Nef can also agree.
Yes.
Good buff.
Wait, which unit?
Eleanor,
Light Polar Queen.
Light Polar Queen.
Ah. Wait, on the skill 3?
Yeah, just like 1-turn attack buff on the unit.
Ah,
that
okay,
you...
okay. I was thinking attack break for a second, but that's in there as too. Attack buff. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I can understand that question. Yeah.
I mean,
Sam?
it's funny because I think it would be very insane for me, but I don't think our win rate or pick rate will go up that much. But it's just like I will take an Obabo specific buff if possible.
Well, I'll take my lime. You get that one. I'll take my lime,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then Nef, any specific buffs you want?
Well, I also have Eleanor, so I already I'm in bonus. Okay, if we're like this, revert Vedjat nerf.
No, Seren buff.
He was most busted unit in the game ever, in my opinion. Still, Sam, any specific buffs you're requesting?
Crack Speed Awakening.
Yep, those are all 4 really busted buffs right there. I know what kind of topic one. Well, guys,
Isn't he
either
still
how.
113 then?
Yeah, it would be 113.
I believe so, yeah.
Well, that's all for today. Guys, thanks a lot for being here. Also, people in the chat, thanks a lot for hanging around as well. On the video, I'll leave all of their socials as is. Also, for you guys, Nef and Sam, are you thinking about streaming?
Yes. I had some personal issues the last few months, but now that they cleared up, I'm probably going to try it with the laptop, but I'm going to work on it.
Cool. No stress, no nothing on that. No, like, oh, you have to, but just a random question.
Yeah, I'm not gonna think about streaming though. It's fine.
Me neither. Who wants to stream? What are we doing over here?
For me, it's maybe.
Maybe. Maybe it's fair enough. Well, either way, guys, thanks a lot for being here. And for the people in chat, thanks a lot as well. And see you later.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.